Come join me on Imam Hussein TV 3 to find out who will be behind the wheel.
Imam Hussein TV 3 wants to improve their content to ensure that we meet our goal, which is to encourage, inform and educate the Shia around the world about the teachings from the holy household, the Ahl al-Bayt. For us to do this, we need your help. Complete our survey and tell us which programs you like, what you like to see more of and what we could do better. The survey takes less than a minute, but you could be within a chance to win a ring made from the marble from the holy shrine of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Imam Hussein TV 3, your gateway to Karbala.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah wa barakatuh, and welcome to a new season of Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. Now, this is a live show. We do take in all your questions. So if you have any questions you'd like to ask, please send them in via I beg your pardon. Please send them in via the WhatsApp number. It should be there below. You can scan the QR code in the corner. If you're watching on Facebook Live or on YouTube, you can put your questions in the comment section. Or if you'd like to give us a call live in the studio, 0203 515-0199, and that will put you direct to us. You can ask any question you like. We don't need to know your name. We don't need to know where you're asking from. Any question in regards to Islamic law, and inshallah, we'll be able to answer them. I'm your host, Mohsin Shah, and joining me is Sheikh Ali Ma'ash. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you doing, Sheikhna? I hope you had a very good Eid and then a very, very good little break.
It was a blessing after the month of Ramadan to have Eid and to remember our marhumin and to praise Allah Azza wa Jal for this blessing that we had another opportunity to fast, the month of Ramadan of this year, inshallah.
Ahsantum, Sheikhna. Sheikhna, during Ramadan, you gave us so much insight into hadith. You gave us advice on how to improve our spirituality, how to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we begin this new season and this new episode, anything you'd like to discuss with our audience?
Inshallah. A'udhu billahi as-sami' al-alim min ash-shaytan ar-rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa alihi at-tahirin wa la'natullahi ala a'da'ihim ajma'in. We begin the hadith by remembering Imam Zaman Ajallah Farajahu Sharif and this blessed hadith in Kitab al-Kafi al-Sharif. Muhammad Muslim narrates, he said that I heard Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam saying, سمعت أبا عبد الله عليه السلام يقول إن بلغكم عن صاحبكم غيبة. If you were told about the disappearance of your Imam, Imam Zaman Ajallah Farajahu Sharif, if you were told that your Imam is now in disappearance, in ghaiba, because in the previous centuries they used to see the A'imma alayhim salam. They met Imam al-Askari alayhi salam, they saw him, they took a hadith from him, they saw Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, they saw the rest of the Imam alayhim salam, even there was taqiyya, there was imprisonment and so forth, but many of the ashab had the opportunity and the blessing to meet the Imam of their time, alayhim salam ajma'in. And of course the Sahaba met the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa which is thousands of them, especially on the day of Ghadir, when they all witnessed the appointment of Ali alayhi salam as Imam and Khalif after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So the Imam says here that in balaghakum an sahibikum ghaybatun fala tunkiruha. If you were told about the subject of your Imam being in disappearance in ghayba, then do not negate it. It means that you have to accept what has been taking place. Occultation, ghayba, as happened to Musa alayhi salam. He went to a minor occultation, when he left Bani Israel after the Passover event, when they crossed the sea, and the Pharaoh and his army were drowned in that sea. So Musa went for almost 38 to 40 days in disappeared from his qawm, from his Bani Israel. which eventually they led to disbelief and worshiping the calf, the golden calf, eventually. So the Ummah should not do the same thing and negate and neglect and ignore this ghaiba that, well, now the Imam is not there, and there's no Imam at all. As some Muslim sects believe that there's no such Imam exists and there's nothing at all, which conflicts with narrations about the existence of the Hujjah, that the Hujjah should be with the Khaliq, with the creation at all times.
Excellent. A quick reminder to all our viewers that this is our brand new episode of the brand new season, season 20, I believe, Sheikhna, of Ahkam SOS. During Ramadan, you saw that we were answering your questions related to Islamic law, and the way we work is that we don't ask your name, we don't ask where we're asking from. We don't need to know anything. You totally anonymously can ask a question in regards to Islamic law. If there is a specific marja and you want his fatwa, you can even send that in, that I would like the opinion of Fulana Marja and what he says on this topic. And then our team will go out and research, including Sheikhna sometimes, speaking to the official offices and the official representatives of the Maraja to get you your answer. So, brothers and sisters, the phone lines are open. You can contact us via WhatsApp. You can scan the QR code, that will take you straight to the WhatsApp page. You can send in, text in via WhatsApp. If you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, you can put your questions in the comment section, or you can call us in live into the studio, 0203 515 0199. That is the easiest and the quickest way that you can have your question answered, inshallah. Sheikhna, with your permission, we've got some questions already from YouTube. We shall begin. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. How do I know if my obligatory ghusl was accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Well, if you know the real rulings of the ghusl, and the same applies to salah as well. If you know your rulings of the salah, how to pray the salah, overall, in general, the wajibat of the salah, the mustahabat of the salah, and the same applies to fasting as well. If you have read or heard about the ahkam of these worships and obligatory acts, then you should, inshallah, consider that as correct and a complete act of worship, unless you're certain that you've done something wrong. And of course, you have to correct it.
Fair. Sheikh, I believe we have our first caller of the night, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, caller.
Assalamu alaikum, brother Muhsin Shah and Sheikhna. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. I hope you are well. You are live on Ahkam SOS. Please, your question for the Sheikh.
My question is, if I work for an agency, such as like that for security, and I was given a job where there is haram, such as a bar or etc., would it be technically haram for me to work there, or is it permissible?
Very, very good question. Inshallah, the Sheikh will answer. Now, Sheikh, is there any more questions you need to ask? Anything? Enough information? Sure. So the question was from the brother that I work in security. My job is to protect people, make sure people aren't misbehaving or creating any threats to anybody else. Sometimes my company or my services, I am acquired to work at what you'd call a haram location, maybe a nightclub or a concert where haram music is being sang. Maybe sometimes they have to protect certain individuals who are known for alcoholism or known for gambling and so forth. Is the work haram? The money that they're earning, is that haram?
And overall, to work in an environment which protects people, that should be fine. In overall, you protect these companies. Let's say in a supermarket, you want to protect from theft, for example,
and also assault, I guess,
and so forth. That kind of jobs would be fine in terms of being as security to protect people's livelihood. But in terms of protecting such indecent places, let's say, of course, if this comes under the subject of promoting, let's say, falsehood, corruption, other titles that would be not permissible, then of course we have to pause in this situation. So we have to see the subject, the unwan of this act. Would it promote falsehood? Would it promote corruption, indecency? That's the whole idea. Because the Quran is very clear about وَلَا تَرْكُنُوا الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا فَتَمَسَّكُمُ النَّارِ. Do not incline towards those who oppress. Oppressing doesn't mean kill people or torture people. Could be even committing sins.
Promoting morality.
And so forth, in which the fire would touch you. So one should be very careful with these jobs. When they apply, they have to make sure that they got the clear lines about the specs and everything before they get the job.
Fair. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. How can I be a student of knowledge? Is it obligatory to go to Hawza, or is studying individually sufficient? Jazakallah khair. Sheikhna, going to Hawza, I think is wajib kafaya, you know. Someone in your community should be selected and elected to go and learn the knowledge.
I mean, Ayatollah Shirazi mentions this many times in his lectures that because of the today's situation, that we need lots of lecturers and teachers and preachers. I mean, we need such great amount of those individuals that it's now coming out of the wajib kafah to wajib aini. So if you think you're capable, you have to make sure you go for it and don't ignore it.
Yeah, I remember when I was at Hawza, my teacher, may God bless him, he wanted that everyone should at least complete muqaddamat of Hawza. Everyone should be on that level minimum, which is, I think muqaddamat is probably 4 years, isn't it, Sheikhna?
Yes.
Yeah, so the 4 years that you do muqaddamat, everyone should complete that. And then because you have enough skills to go and do individually and, you know, for your self-benefit rather than as a career. And those who want to take it as a career full-time, they can go and carry on studying and become like authors or lecturers. Or
Yeah, just to add that Hawza is like a university. And I believe that there's deeper knowledge and information within the Hawza than the university, because I've studied both. And I can compare easily. To see that university usually the first 3-4 years is like sometimes like shallow teachings compared to Hawza.
Yeah, the depth you go
Hawza
into.
goes to the depth, really depth of the Arab syntax,
It does, yeah.
Nahu, Sarf, and then you go to Balagha, and then you go to Ilm al-Fiqh, Usul al-Fiqh, so deep in those at least 4 or 5 years compared to the uni studies. But I mean, if you want proper study, you have to go to Hawza. The same plus university. You want to get, I don't know, consultancy in IT, I don't know, medics, you have to go to the university to get that qualification. But if you think you can use some kind of, I don't know, short courses, online courses, that could help as well in somehow, if you can't reach Hawza.
Yeah, definitely, Sheikhna. More questions coming in, and from YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it permissible to engage in polemics, debates with Sunnis and Christians? Sheikhna, polemic debates, we see a lot of this here in London, a place called Speaker's Corner. Every Sunday, it is very, very well known. Every Sunday, Hyde Park Corner, people will come and talk, discuss, debate, and a lot of Muslim brothers from different madhabs, different schools of thought will come and discuss and sometimes debate and so forth. Sometimes it's very, very civil and people can agree to disagree. And sometimes it can get very, very, you know, what's the best word to use? Confrontational. So, from your experience, because I personally, I know that to go into a debate with someone, there are certain skills you need and required to go into a debate. But for those who want to have discussions and with their friends and so forth, would you recommend it, or would you think that, okay, maybe have a discussion rather than a debate?
Initially, sometimes the location and the persons or the people who you would discuss would be not suitable for this location and the people who you're discussing with. That's number one. You know, the aim is to just to refute your evidence and whatever you have with their own, as you mentioned, in a clever way to respond to your justifications and evidences. That's number one. Number two, you need people who are experts in this field. You can't just send anyone to talk and debate with them. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he had someone with the name of Hisham, yeah, I forgot his surname, or laqab. Hisham was actually a Sunni, a youth Sunni. He became Shia and one of the Imam Sadiq's students. So he was allocated to be the one who talks to the non-Shia and non-Muslims, specifically non-Shia. And he challenged big ulama. One of them, Alim of the Basra, I forgot his name again, and he challenged him by asking him, for example, Do you have eyes? Do you have ears? Do you have mouth? What do you do with it? And he said to him at the end, do you have a heart? He said, yes. What do you do with it? He said, that I would, heart could be meaning in Arabic, aqil, or somehow, that I would bring whatever I hear or listen or read and I analyze it. If it's correct, I accept it. If it's a falsehood, I would reject it. So Hisham said to him that, what about the, Allah Azza wa Jal? Would he leave this ummah without an imam appointed by Rasulullah through Allah Azza wa Jal, and leave it to people to choose their own imam and khalifa? So he admitted to what Hisham said. So you need someone who's strong in debating. That's very important.
Yeah, debating is a skill of its own. I've noticed, and you can see with like the way it works is someone has to lead the debate, and there's always a battle between who's trying to lead the debate, and it's like they're trying to walk you around in the conversation into a trap to make you stuck or confused. Whereas you're going to have to counteract that. You have to understand where they're taking the conversation and where they're taking the debate in order for you to actually do well and do better. More questions coming in, Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum. My question is, what is the ruling on buying and playing lottery tickets and other such games of chance?
In overall, betting and gambling is not permissible at all.
That's from WhatsApp.
What is allowed by many ulama today is to buy the national lottery, in which part of that lottery ticket goes to the charities, building hospitals, orphanage, even sometimes Islamic centers or churches, for example. So it goes for the good cause in terms of charities and so forth. That would be allowed to participate. Otherwise, if it's for betting and so forth, it would not be allowed at all.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. When shopping for an aqiq ring, what should you look for and what are the benefits? That's from
Aqiq,
WhatsApp.
you have the Yamani, different types of them available. Sharaf al-Shams, I think it's a yellow one, also mentioned some of the benefits about rizq and so forth. So it depends.
More questions coming in. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Yes, sir.
This is from WhatsApp. I understand that the concept of tawassul is accepted and logical, but why is istighatha acceptable if Allah says in the Quran that istighatha is only to Him?
You see, we have to study all the Quranic verses and to not neglect a verse. In one verse, for example, Allah says, Allah would take the souls when they pass away, in human souls, for example. And then He says in another ayah, it is the angel of death who will take your souls. So it's a delegation. Yes, originally Allah is the one who has all the power, the strength, the capabilities, but He would give some to some of His creation, like the Malaika and Anbiya and Imam alayhi salam.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I'm working with e-commerce and I tend to trade US dollar similar to USDT to Bitcoin and can get a profit of up to 300%. Halal job, but huge profit realization. Is it halal? Okay, this is to do with stocks and trade, I guess, or options trading, Sheikhna. They're saying that with a certain, I think it's known as the indice, they can trade and make up to 300% profit. Is that halal? Or making up to 300% profit, is that halal?
In overall, the Quran says tijara and taradin. If both sides agree upon certain transaction and business and profit, it's between them. So wherever you get profit, could be, I don't know, double of the amount. There's no issue with as far as the transaction is valid. You're not selling alcohol, pork. You're not selling gambling tools and so forth.
So what happens the opposite way? For example, if I go to a Muslim market and I buy an item and I pay, double the price for the item. I've said, okay, how much is this? They've said it's, $20. I say, okay, I'll take that. I pay the $20. And then later on, I see the same item with someone else and they're selling it for 10. Then I speak to them. I said, I paid 20 for this. Why is it 10? And then he said, the whole market sells it for 10. Who sold you it for 20? That transaction I've done, is that halal? Because technically at the time, we both agreed to the price and the transaction. But later on, I found out that, I've been overcharged. So, what do I do in this situation?
I mean, in terms of, as I've said, it's tijara and taradin. Both sides agree upon a price and they pay and they walk away. But there are ahkam with regards to, we have babul khayar, as they say, the option of refund, ahsant, of cancelling the transaction. So you can go back and tell them, no, I've been overcharged, for example, and so forth.
Yeah. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. A new Muslim who struggles with addiction, is he less sinful for consuming drugs, alcohol, than the one who has never been an addict but gets intoxicated? Okay, so let me just read that again. Salam. A new Muslim who struggles with addiction, is he less sinful for consuming drugs and alcohol than the one who has never been addicted but gets intoxicated? Oh. Okay, so on one side we have the one who has newly come to Islam, has accepted the deen. However, they have some troubles, some bad habits which they're trying to conquer. And on the other hand, you've got someone who has no history of bad habits, but then starts to drink or to use drugs and so forth. Which one of the two is more sinful, is what they're asking.
You see, the amal and the deed is by the niyyah, by the intention of the one individual. You had many people, for example, who joined Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam in the battles, or when they became Muslims, they were either mushrikeen or they were in the enemy side. When they joined with the Ahlul Bayt, they became the best of the people, of the companions of the Imams alayhim salam. So you never know. This individual who was a revert, for example, convert, and he had all these sins, but Allah Azza wa Jalla would accept his, let's say, shahada and his current deeds more than the one who had never committed these indecent acts, for example. Depends on the niyyah and intention. We had Christian on the day of Ashura who joined with the Imam, a Christian family,
yes.
Wahab. We had John. We had Hur Riyahi, who was the commander of the army of Ibn Sa'ad.
Yeah.
Imagine. So you never know. Sometimes the one who is new to Islam would have elevated position compared to the other one who was born from generations as a Muslim. You never know.
Fair. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. This question, I think it haunted us during Ramadan. It's come back again, but because we've had a long gap, I'll ask the question. Was Umar married to Imam Ali's daughter?
I haven't seen somebody approving or affirming this story.
Neither have I. Salam, what is the Shia ruling of cremation, which is burning the body, Sheikhna?
No, in Islam it's not permissible at all. You have to bury the deceased in one of the, let's say, form of respect to the deceased is to bury him inside the earth, the ground.
Yeah.
So that's our rulings, yeah.
So we can't do cremation at all?
No.
Fair. Just a quick reminder to all our viewers that this is a live show. We do take in your questions live. If you have any questions you'd like to ask, please send them in via the WhatsApp. You've got the QR code there on the bottom. You can scan the QR code out, take you to the WhatsApp page. Or you can, if you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, you can put your questions in the comment section. If you'd like to call in, 0203-515-0199, and that'll get you straight through to the studio, and we will answer your question straight away, inshallah. From YouTube, did Muawiyah write Wahi?
Yeah, they call him, the non-Shia Katib al-Wahi. That he used to write something beside the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But you see, whatever the companions did in the time of Rasulullah, even they joined the Prophet in his battles. What is important is the khatimatul a'mal. Their fate when they end their life, were they good or bad? So see Muawiyah at the end of his life, where he was in Siffin, waging war against Ali ibn Abi Talib and the Ashab of Rasulullah, like Ammar ibn Yasir and others, in which Ammar was killed. This loyal Sahabi was killed by the sword of Muawiyah and his army and companions.
Right.
So the fate is important, the end of the life. Was he in the good side or the bad side? And the Prophet called Muawiyah and his army al-fi'atul baghiyah, the tyrant group or corrupt group. على كل حال.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
As-salam.
Is it permissible to build small structures over the graves? Jazakallah khair.
I mean, what is mentioned, there's a limited, let's say, height for the grave. I think it's 4 fingers, less or more.
Oh, wow.
Maybe that much. For the mu'min, of course, the marhumin. And not for the anbiya and awliya and the Imam alayhi salam. So there's like a limit for it.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Why do Shias pray with their hands by their sides? And why do Sunnis pray with their hands crossed? Sheikhna, this is one of the biggest identifications that people look for to see if someone is a Shia or a Sunni. That do they cross their arms when they pray, or do they have them by their sides? I mean, it is well narrated how the second Khalif introduced crossing of the arms in the prayer for the Sunnis, and I believe the Sheikh Malik, he's in his fatwa is to pray with your hands by your sides, and this is how the Sahaba and the Tabi'un used to pray. For the Shia, Sheikhna, what is our proof, or why do we pray with our hands by our sides?
I'll simplify this answer for this question, that the Shia of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, the followers, they followed Kitabullah wa Atrat Ahl Bayti, what the Prophet advised before his departure from this world, that follow the Book of Allah and my family after my death. And this is famous hadith in books of Shia and non-Shia. In the Sahih you'll find Ahl Bayti wa Atrati in that phrase. So the Shia followed Kitabullah and Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. And on top of that, of course, Rasulullah's Sunnah as well, sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, the way he prayed and so forth, in which he prayed in this way. The Ahlul Sunnah followed the Sahaba school. And as you mentioned, you clarified that Umar invented this way of praying. And not only that, he invented Salatul Taraweeh, he invented As-Salah Khair min Nawm in the Adhan. He invented many things. So the Mut'a and so forth to be forbade them. So they followed the school of Sahaba and not Rasulullah and his Sunnah and not the Holy Quran and Ahlul Bayt.
Ahsant. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is keeping the evil eye symbol around the house halal or haram? Sheikhna, it's very, very common. Turkey, I see it everywhere. I do see it sometimes also in Iraq. When you buy certain items, like a dhul fiqar or something, it might have it attached on. It's like a blue eye, then a white circle, and then a blue and a black dot and so forth. And it's still, worn off hasad and stuff like that. Is this Islamically acceptable?
I haven't seen anyone saying it's forbidden, not allowed. But of course, if you replace it with the ayat of the Holy Quran, Ayatul Kursi, for example, Ad'ayu fa'imma alayhi salam would be, of course, better, a lot effective.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. What is your view on the Ahmadis, Qadianis? Are they Muslim and can we marry them? Are you familiar with the Ahmadis, Sheikhna?
To some extent.
So, Ghulam Mirza Ahmed from Pakistan, the Kashmir side, claimed to be the Messiah and a prophet or you could say the Hujjah of Allah, and claimed that he received the Wahi as well. We as Pakistanis, which happens to be an Islamic country, we say that he was very well versed in Farsi and Arabic. And he probably used certain hadith books and certain poets and certain historical artifacts to trick and con the public into thinking that he was someone who could actually receive wahi and was, a representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on earth. They believe that he was the Messiah, he came and he died and went, and they're waiting for somebody else now or something. I'm not too familiar with what they believe. We in Pakistan, because this movement is from Pakistan, we totally reject that this is a part of Islam, and we even have it in our passport. It even says it in there that we declare that the Ahmadis are not a school or a group or a recognized group in Islam and so forth. But Sheikhna, they asked you for your opinion. So in regards to the Ahmadis, who, by the way, I don't even think the Saudi Arabian government recognizes them as Muslims and allows them to come to perform Hajj or Umrah, neither. From your research and what you know, Sheikhna, the Ahmadis, are they Muslim? Are we allowed to marry them?
I'm not sure exactly if what is their belief with regards to the prophets of Allah Azza wa Jal. And do they say the Shahadatain?
They say, I think they'll have extra. So they believe that. See, the thing is, Sheikhna, they don't believe Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was Khatim al-Anbiya. They don't believe he's the final messenger. They believe there is another one.
I think we leave it to the ulama to decide, the maraja. I think that's the best way.
Fair. Another one is from, I think this is from YouTube. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it true Imam Mahdi, his appearance, will reappear when Palestine will be liberated? I don't think so.
I haven't heard anything
There's
about it.
nothing along them lines. But Sheikhna, for those who want to know, what are some of the major signs that it is the Imam of our time is arriving?
You know, the call from the heavens, Sayha, very famous, about the Imam's reappearance. And you have the emerge of the Sufyani and attacking certain cities in the Middle East. And you have the emerge of the Khurasani from Khurasan, Yamani from Yemen, and the killing of that young man in the Kaaba, you know, just beside the Kaaba.
Wow.
Yeah, they behead him actually. Who calls for Al Muhammad Salamullah alayhim.
Wow.
Many signs, but you never know. You know, it could happen in one night. According to some narrations.
Yeah, it's not. I heard it's not decided. I heard that due to the prayers of the believers, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, his occultation was shortened. He came, I think, 150 years earlier than he was supposed to, because of the devotion and also the prayers of the community. So really, it is up to Allah when.
Inshallah. We'll ask Allah for to hasten his reappearance.
Inshallah. Sheikh, now we're going to go to a short break. Join us after the break as we continue our discussion here on Ahkam SOS. Now is the best time to send in your questions. If you're watching the show, we're going to go for a short break. In the break, using WhatsApp, scan the QR code there. Or if you're watching on Facebook Live or on YouTube, you can put your questions in your comment section. Send in your questions, and then me and the Sheikh, inshallah, will be able to discuss. So we don't need to know your name. We don't need to know where you're asking from. Just send in your questions. It can be in regards to traveling, fasting, Hajj is on its way. It may be business. It may be marriage. It could be any topic whatsoever. Send in your questions, and inshallah, me and Sheikh will answer right after this break. Don't go anywhere.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of scholars at home.
Is it permissible to plant trees by or
Was
over
Islam
the
established based on peace and
Is it
non-violence?
permissible to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim countries?
Is there an issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 092155.
For those interested in an Islamic law book by Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Al-Shirazi, please WhatsApp the Ahkam SOS team at the following number to place your order today: +44 7415 092155. The Islamic law book, available exclusively in hard copy, contains religious questions answered by Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Al-Shirazi. Order your hard copy today.
Yes, you can get your Islamic law book today via the WhatsApp. If you just scan the QR code or the message that you're interested in taking the Islamic law book, which discusses many topics. It's all in English and it covers many religious and also modern day ahkam that we go through every day, like business transactions and opening a bank account, commemorating Muharram in the West and things like that. It's an excellent read. For those of you joining us right now, this is Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. If you have a question you'd like to send in, please scan the QR code right there in the corner or contact the number there below. You can send in your question via WhatsApp. If you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, you can put your questions in the comment section. And if you're feeling very brave and you'd like to talk to us, because we always like to talk to our viewers, 0203 515 0199, you can call in. If you're outside the UK, just use the WhatsApp number, call that number, they'll put you straight through to us, inshallah. And myself and the Sheikh will answer your questions. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Sheikh, from YouTube, Why is Allah putting some people at a disadvantage by making them born into families of other religions or no religion? Sheikh, I've heard somewhere that we actually decide on what our parents and the life we want to live and so forth beforehand. I've also heard that you're given a lot of opportunities before coming, and for those who are born Sada, for those who are born Shia, and for those who are born, close to you have a family member that is Shia, or you have a neighbor that is Shia, and things like that. There were certain things you did in the heavens which gave you this benefit before coming here. Is this true?
We have a narration from Imam alayhi salam with this regard that he says that Allah created people with the instinct of believing in God or having some kind of knowledge of Allah Azza wa Jal on the fitrah, instinct of believing in God, Allah Azza wa Jal. But it's the parents who would make them Christians or Jews or other religions. The education, in other words. Yes. That's why we have lots of reverts from the Christians, from the Europe, Western world, from the Eastern world, from Africa, for example, that they convert to Islam, revert to Islam, because of their fitrah. When they come back to themselves and they study Islam, they become Muslims straight away. So that's the fitrah which is covered like a dark cloud with, disbelief, aqa'id, for example, for example, the acts of haram, for example, and so forth. That cloud of sins and disbelief would cover that fitrah, that instinct in which one can't recognize the true from the false. And that's our duty to deliver Islam to them as well.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it permissible to draw the imams like the depictions that we see at processions? Sheikhna, we see a lot of pictures, people's interpretation of what the imam looks like, what an imam could have been, and so forth. It's more of a person's opinion and not the actual way. But what is this okay? Is this acceptable?
Many ulama say that it doesn't represent the imam's image, the real image of the imam. But you can use them in the azadari and the majalis. It's not forbidden somehow.
Fair. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. When Shia combine prayers, for example, Dhuhr and Asr, do we do it at the beginning of the time frame for Dhuhr, after Dhuhr Adhan, or at the beginning of the time frame for Asr, after the Asr Adhan?
The minute the Adhan is called, you start praying, for example. This 4 or 5 minutes of the Adhan of Dhuhr or Maghrib, that's part of this Adhan, the Dhuhr time or Maghrib time. After that, it begins the time for Salat al-Asr and Asha as well. So by ending the Salah, you can start the next Salah straight away.
From YouTube, Sheikh, is about Umar marrying. I'm gonna ask because we do ask every question that comes in. Here is the hadith about Umar being married with Imam Ali as alayhi salam's daughter, Sulaim ibn Khalid, who has said that he, the Imam, said she can complete wherever she likes. Ali alayhi salam held the hand of Kulthum and brought her to his home where Umar died. Don't have the reference here. It would have been nice to see what book this was in. Nor do we have. Okay, so we have that. So it was narrated by Sulaim ibn Khalid. Have you heard of this name before, Sheikh?
Maybe through my readings, yeah. But we need to do scrutiny and find
exactly
you need to give us the source, the main source. Is it from the Shia or the Sunni source?
Yeah, exactly. So you need to give us the source and also the narrators and so forth. And then maybe we can do a bit more investigating. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it permissible to watch or attend a theatre production or musical such as The Lion King, as our kids love these things?
Anything that involves haram and forbidden acts or scenes or indecent, let's say, scenes and so forth would not be allowed.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Are we allowed to eat food from the hand of those who are believing in one God but are not of Ahl al-Kitab? For example, a Buddhist or a Hinduist background of ancestors which now think there is only one God but do not believe in our Kitab.
I mean, today's fatwa of the many ulama today, they mention that Ahlul Kitab are only Christian and Jews and Zoroastrians, Zardosht. These are the only three groups that we are allowed, according to some ulama, to eat from them because they are pure and tahir, according to some fatwa. And even the marriage, for example, now some would say only temporary, some would say no, permanent, you can do so with Ahl Kitab only. So other than those three groups of religions, you cannot marry or you cannot eat from their, let's say, wet hands and so forth, if they cook.
We've got a question from WhatsApp. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. As a Muslim woman, do we have the right to undergo laser hair removal in intimate areas? The situation is quite specific as it's a very sensitive area and it is necessary to remove hair from these parts. But due to the pain, it's almost impossible for me to undergo hair removal all the time. So laser hair removal would really be a solution. What does Islam say about this? Sheikh, to remove hair, especially from, it is, first of all, is it wajib to remove hair? We are told to remove the hair under our arms, between our legs, sometimes even, the moustache and so forth. Is this wajib or is it mustahab?
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's recommended for the one to remove and to be clean in terms of the both male and female.
And now, if they can't undergo, using a razor or wax because they have sensitive skin and so forth, can they use new technology? Sometimes there's creams, hair removal creams to help, laser hair removal, which sometimes can create permanent removal and so forth. Are Muslims allowed to go and undergo these treatments?
If they do it by themselves and there's no harm, severe harm, should be fine. But if they go to a doctor, let's say, or a specialist in laser removing and so forth, then the problem is that doctor or that professional person who does the lasering and so forth is not allowed to look at those private parts. It's not allowed. It's forbidden. That's the problem, to look and to operate on those private parts. That's the problem, to be honest.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. What are the rings that some Muslims wear? What are the meaning behind them? Sheikhna, there's loads of different rings that we do wear. Aqiq, there's Yaqut, there's Sarkon, I think, there's Faroza, Fayroz, there's Ruby, there's Emerald, there's many different rings. The ones we are very, very common and popular are the Aqiq rings and so forth. So where is this tradition from and what are the benefits?
I mean, it's within the narrations in regards to the benefits of the Aqiq, about, for example, rizq and so forth. Some also mention that it is the first stone in which confess to Allah Azza wa Jal, the Shahada and so forth. Because even the solid, like the mountains, minerals would speak, would have tasbih, as the Quran says that there's nothing that except would praise to Allah Azza wa Jalla. Yusabbih bihamdi rabbih. So that's why we see that Aqiq and Fayruzah and others would give them such priority and importance, because somehow they had some kind of connection with Allah Azza wa Jalla in terms of confessing to Allah Azza wa Jalla the Shahada and so forth.
Ahsant. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. We sometimes get accused of having innovated practices for celebrating the birthday of the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt. Is there proof for celebrating them?
Well, initially they have to bring the evidence that to celebrate a Prophet's birthday or somebody who is Allah's vicegerent on earth, that is forbidden. We need like a hadith, or as they say from the Quran. Bring a Quran ayah that says you're not allowed to celebrate the Prophet's of Allah's birthday, for example. They argue is in their pitch. They have to bring the evidence that it's forbidden and bid'ah.
What would you say to someone who said that, okay, the Prophet may have had a birthday, but how did he celebrate it? Did he have balloons and flowers? Did he recite poetry? Did they cut a cake and things like that? Where's this come from then?
The same applies to them. those A'immah of the non-Shia that today they give sermons in a beautiful mosques with expensive carpets and rugs, with speakers, loudspeakers. Was it in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
State-of-the-art equipment.
Never ever the Prophet used such equipments and expensive rugs and carpets. Even praying, they pray on the carpets and rugs. Then the Prophet never prayed on them, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He prayed on the pebbles or sand or clay, or as they say, khumrah. Straws, exactly, khumrah. So he never prayed on expensive carpets, Turkish carpets, Persian carpets, and so forth, which they pray on. So they are actually doing against the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam by praying on the carpets and rugs.
I believe we have a phone call on the line. Can I confirm? Inshallah, we'll be able to get through to our viewer. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
How are you, brother? You okay? I can hear you, but I'm not sure the studio can hear you.
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine.
MashaAllah, that's good, fantastic. Your question, please, for the Sheikh.
شيخنا السؤال إمام علي عليه السلام عندنا حديث saying that he said the entire Quran in 1 minute. Is this hadith true or false?
Okay, Sheikh, did you get the question?
No.
No? So, apparently there's a hadith that Amir al-Mu'mineen recited the whole Quran in 1 minute. Is there such a hadith?
I have not.
And if this is true
I have
or
not.
not?
No. We need a reference for that.
Inshallah. If the brother that called in, can you send us the reference of this hadith or where you heard or where you saw it? Inshallah, we can go and look at it and we can get back to you then. But Sheikh, I remember a story where one would say that I complete the whole of the Quran every day. And they said, how can you complete the whole of Quran every day? We've seen you working, we've seen you sleeping, we've seen you do this and that. And he would say that, I recited Surah Tawheed, Surah Ikhlas 3 times. Because Surah Ikhlas is 1/3 of the Quran. So I recite it 3 times and that's equal to a whole Quran.
I think that was Salman Farsi.
MashaAllah. Fantastic. Sheikh, we have a question from YouTube. I'm going to give you the option to not answer this question, Sheikh, because it can be a little controversial. The question is, can a non-Sayyid man marry a Sayyid lady? Both are Shia.
You're asking fiqh-wise?
Yes.
According to the ulama and Maraja and Najaf and Qum, yes, they can marry.
According to?
According to Maraja, ulama and Qum and Najaf. Yes, they can. A Sayyid to non-Sayyid, and vice versa, from both gender. But according to some traditions, it's not allowed. So you want to follow the fiqh and the traditions of Ali Muhammad sallallahu, you want to follow your tribal tradition, it's up to you, the way you want to.
What if, I totally understand, this is the fiqh from our esteemed Maraja that we have, and I totally understand that this is a fiqh rule. However, Sheikhna, what if this marriage goes ahead, the girl's life may be in danger, honor killing, her brothers find out, her uncles find out, other family members find out and they're not happy, they'll come to the wedding, they'll come with weapons and so forth, then what? Is this still okay to continue, or because of the danger, maybe you should reconsider?
No, the scholars, they have established qawa'id and bases with regards to darar and dirar, la darara wa la dirar, and we have taqiyya and so forth. These are applied when there's danger on one's life, definitely.
Yeah. Final question for this evening, Sheikh, from WhatsApp. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
In Shia thought, prophets are infallible from sin. Can you explain this further? And with this, I want to, and how can we view Musa alayhi salam asking Allah for forgiveness?
Initially, how can you trust as a Muslim that these ahadith are true and this Quran revelation was true from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Without him being infallible, you cannot trust him. You cannot trust him, 100%. But we rely on the Prophet's the Quran and the Hadith and the Sunnah, 100%. Of course, the Sunnah which is correct and the Hadith which has a Sahih, there's no false Hadith or fabricated Hadith and so forth. But in overall, we respect and submit to the Holy Quran and the Hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Without his infallibility and Usma, we cannot trust. Usma is a crucial belief and aqidah to believe in, so we can accept the Sharia from the Prophet. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble.
Thank you very much, Sheikh, and thank you to all our viewers for joining us on this episode of Ahkam SOS. This was our first episode of the brand new season. Inshallah, myself and the Sheikh will be coming back every Monday and Wednesday here on Imam Hussein TV 3, 7 p.m. UK time. And we'll be having a live discussion, having your questions sent in, and we'll be discussing, inshallah, and answering all of your questions. If you have a question you'd like to ask, please send them in via the WhatsApp. You can scan the QR code there, and you can send your questions via the WhatsApp. You can send it live when we're here doing our show. You can send it at any other time during the WhatsApp, and then we can collect them all together, and then we can answer them, inshallah. Myself and the Sheikh will be back on a Wednesday, 7 p.m. here on Imam Hussein TV 3. Until then, please keep sending in your questions. If we didn't answer your questions today, we do apologize. We had many questions coming in. However, please join us again on Wednesday. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Tell me your name. Roj Fatima Malik. Sumaya Hussein. Zahra Abbas.
Yasser Al-Hilfi.
Sayyid Murtada Al-Husseini. My name is Amir Radha. Yunus Dawood.
My name is Mustafa Ali Masood.
Muhammad Fahad.
Muhammad Radha.
Ali Hassan Jagani.
My name is Hassan Al-Nawaf.
How long have you been working with the channel?
Since its London office was opened.
Which was where?
2017, Ramadan.
2015 I started. 16 is when we started the office in London.
Since I was a kid.
I've been working since 2018.
Approximately 4 years.
How long is that? 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 4 years? 5 years?
4 years.
Approximately 3 years.
Just past 2 years.
Around 2 years now, alhamdulillah.
8 months. Since September. So wait, how many months is that? 6, 7 months, I think. What were you doing before working at the channel?
I was studying full time. I was a student in high school.
I was studying. Nothing really.
I came here for work experience for a bit, and then Sayyid Murtada really liked my work, and I carried on with it basically.
Just going to school, studying, going out with friends, nothing.
I used to work for a travel agency.
I was sort of in between jobs. I was working in insolvency.
Very different to this. I was working at an optician's.
I started the channel while I was at uni, and before that I was just working with Vision Express.
I was working at another company as their news reporter.
I was working for another channel.
I used to work as a freelancer at other channels.
I was working on another Islamic channel.
What's your earliest memory of the channel?
The earliest memory...
Earliest.
I remember when I used to go to my local mosque every Fridays, Hussein Salat. And I remember Sayyid Murtada used to set up his camera and stuff like that at the back of the mosque in the Husseiniya.
Me and Sayyid Muhsin Shia started our first project where we used to film in one of the basements. What was in the basement? It was the ground floor of in the Husseiniya.
We used to think it's weird because we'd never think that a channel like this would start off at a back room at the back of the Husseiniya.
Muhsin was reading the book Peshawar Nights. I used to just click record on the camera, and I used to sit down and watch Netflix.
I remember actually my interview with Hajj Qasim when I actually came in, because I got a call from Sayyid Murtada who said, I heard you can edit, come work at the channel. I'm like, okay. And then after uni I took the first train, came to literally this same office here we're in now, and I sat with Hajj Qasim at the table, and I talked about what I can do and what I can't do, what my hobbies and what I like and don't like. And I actually first started off as an editor and a cameraman.
It was probably Murtada. He was just, every week he's just telling me, Yasser, come to the channel, Yasser, come to the channel. I'm like, nah, allow it, I don't want to come. But then one day he forced me in. I saw the members of the team. I was like, I'm in.
It was during COVID. So we were in a lockdown.
It must have been one of those Live in London shows.
It would be probably Sayyid Ammar Naqshawani's lectures on death.
Sayyid Ammar Naqshawani's lectures during Shahr Ramadan. And I was working here the first day when I came for my green screen test. It was all a bit chaotic. I had to go on camera, I had to give my green screen interview or whatever, and then I spoke to Hajj Qasim and just meeting everyone.
Oh, definitely Shia voice last year.
I came to the channel once during a jashan. I think it was Sukhni that arranged the jashan, and it was for Milad. I can't remember, I'll be honest with you, but it was an amazing jashan, and the atmosphere was really what really caught me. Like, I didn't know anybody except for I think Nawab and Sukhni when I came, and they were like, "Oh, bro, you gotta be a part of this. You gotta recite. You gotta do this." And they gave me like a massive chunk of cake which I took home, and I was like, I've never met half these people, and they treat me like family.